We were going to go somewhere very far away and very high up. It's very blissful. We were going to be extremely happy there. And nothing in our life experience could prepare us for the magnitude of the joy that would meet us where we were. But that one of us was going to have to come down. My name is Julie Levine, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. I was asked to speak because I had a near-death experience. This experience I had in 1990. I had just turned 31 years old. I am now 66, so literally I have lived a full lifetime since then. But this experience has been the most compelling and, if you will, important experience that shaped my life ever since. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about who I was, what happened to me, and then how it changed me, and also, I guess, my message to all of you. I was working for the Bronx Borough President. I lived in New York City, and he had sent me to a meeting that he also was attending in the capital of New York State, which is about a 4-hour drive. My colleague and friend picked me up in a government fleet car because she wanted to pick my brain about what I knew about family and children's services and etc. And also, she was just a lovely human being. So we were driving up together. It was a rainy and overcast morning on the New York Thruway, and we're chatting away and sharing it more about our lives than we ever had before. She was my absolute favorite person in this job. And suddenly we see a 18-wheel truck backing up like toward us on the New York Thruway. We were in the slow lane. We were going about 70 miles an hour at the speed of traffic. And this huge truck appeared to be backing up right into us. We both knew in that second that there was no way we could avoid a collision with the truck. We were in a Dodge Aries, I hate to say it, not a very good car. And she swerved to avoid the truck. The car spun out of control because it was raining and hit on her side, hit the truck on her side. Well, it killed her instantly. The last thing that I remember was a scream. I think it was probably both of our scream. And then I found myself in a cave. Now, many people who've had near-death experiences go through a tunnel. I went through a cave that was, in fact, also a tunnel because I could see the light dimly coming in from both sides. But it had rocks and it had moss. It was a cave. And I was there with my friend Robin. There was also a presence in the cave with us, which I'm going to describe as a guide, if you will, a form of God. It did, in fact, it was very ethereal and shadowy. It wasn't like a full person, but it did present to me somewhat like a man. But I think that's largely irrelevant. We see the symbols, as I've learned, in what we feel familiar with. And that guide felt very peaceful, very loving. I trusted him. And he was sharing with both Robin and I about what was about to happen to us. What he told us, and not in words, but we could both hear ethereally what he was sharing telepathically, was that we were going to go somewhere very far away and very high up. It's very blissful. We were going to be extremely happy there. And nothing in our life experience could prepare us for the magnitude of the joy that would meet us where we were. But that one of us was going to have to come down. Now, I don't know if it was that only one of us had the strength to make that journey or what, but I remember wishing it was me, realizing it meant living. Didn't know where we were going, but I knew I wanted to be here. And then I felt really guilty. What made me more deserving than my friend? She was younger than I was. Clearly, I wasn't old at 31, but she was 28. She was a joyous human being, full of life and love, and really made a difference in the world. And as soon as I had that thought, I felt guilty. What made me more deserving than my friend? But really, all of that became irrelevant because suddenly we found ourselves lifted. Like the cave turned and it was like suddenly at a vertical. And we were like zoom, like a vacuum cleaner, lifted up into the sky, very far away, like with a swoosh. And then we found ourselves, both Robin and I, or what had been us, in the light. I call it the light. It was soft, white light, pure, perfect temperature, water, air. Everything was part of everything. Everything was flowing around, between. We were immersed in this light and in this love. It was a very loving, loving light. Now, I didn't have a body, nor did Robin. I had no memory up there of life, and there was no sense of time. I have no idea how much, quote, time I spent up there, although it could have been minutes or hours. I should say that when the EMT got to us in the car, which the truck that had hit us did call, I had coded. I was not breathing. And of course, I found out later that my friend Robin had died, although I had a feeling that she had. And they were able to get me back, get my breathing back, the EMTs, but I was still unconscious. So going back to being in the light with Robin, the only thing that I felt distinct, because like I say, everything was part of everything. It was just pure love, pure light. What I would probably describe to the listeners here today as like a nirvana state, or a being in the womb, just complete peace, complete love, total presence and oneness and peace of mind. No memory, no pain. Pain that we have in life, both physical and emotional, was all gone. And the only thing that felt distinct was the energy that had been my friend Robin and my energy. I could feel a swirl between us. I could feel the particularity of what had been Robin. And I could feel her peace. I'm so grateful for that. I was later able to tell her mother, my last memory of her was total peace and total happiness. At any rate, I have no idea, as I shared before, how long I was there, and time is very different. Maybe there is no time. But then the next memory that I had was being in horrific pain, not being able to move, a very bright, painful light that did not feel at all like the white light that I had experienced. And turned out that I was in a hospital, Kingston Hospital, and I was looking at a doctor that had operated on my jaw and my neck and everything was moving around. I felt like I was looking at an alien, and the fluorescent lights were hurting me, and my head was killing me. I had so much pain. I couldn't move my jaw. I couldn't really talk because it was wired. And I couldn't move my body. I was in traction. Well, I tried to communicate with this doctor. I said, "Where's Robin?" Because I wanted confirmation of where I had been. And I will tell you that for days and days, I did not get any confirmation from them because I was still in serious condition. They thought it would not be stabilizing for me to know, but I needed to know. I wanted confirmation that Robin was in peace, that she was in the light, that what I had experienced, it just felt realer than life itself, and I needed some confirmation. Which eventually, finally, I did get. At any rate, that was my experience. Now, I was very lucky. I had my mom's younger cousin had a near-death experience, and she called me in the hospital, and she encouraged me to communicate what I had been through. Again, it was like talking through this because I had my jaw all wired and everything, but I was able to share with her where I had been. And she said, people will want it to go away. They'll be like, get on with your life already. Like the same way when somebody dies, like, let's get on with it. It's over already, Don't belabor it. But in fact, it continues my experience to be realer than life itself. And I know that as much as I do love life, it can be extremely painful. And I experience that pain, as I know many of you do. And knowing that at the end, I go to a place of light, of love, of pure connection means a lot. I have no fear of that. And I encourage those that are listening who are either dealing with their own mortality issues or who know loved ones who are going through this to know that they are or will be in peace. That I am sure of, and I am sure of life itself, because there is only love. And many people go through what's called a kind of, I forget what you call it now, but basically where they go through a screening of the things, the people they may have heard in their life, a life review. I didn't really have that, except for that little bit of guilt I felt for wanting to live. But if I had had any idea where I was going, I would have never wanted to come down. But whether I made a choice or whether that choice was already preordained, I don't know. I just know that for me and for those around me, I just encourage you to know there will be peace, there will be love. We don't sink into a dark hole of nothingness. And hang in there. I don't believe in hell. I didn't experience any hell. I come from a Jewish background. I'm not a very religious person, but I definitely, since this experience, believe deeply in God, but a God of love, not a God that's going to judge or is going to, I don't believe we go to hell, but we could struggle to go to the light if we have unresolved issues. So that's my message to you today. I hope it's helpful. And let's try to live as close to the light as we can while we're in this realm, and welcome our time when it does come. Thank you.